Good evening, everyone. Thank you very much for joining on time. This is the 11th session, even though it says ninth session. This is actually it's a typo on the slide. It's the 11th session out of 24 complimentary sessions for German B1 level. Today, we will also have after 11th session, we'll also have the 12th session. Today, 50% we will do a recap of things that you already know because today our focus is on Artikelwörter als Pronomen. It literally means that how can you use articles as pronouns in German language? Meaning, you have articles in German language, der, die, das, ein, einer, kein, keiner, mein, dein, and so on. Then you have pronouns, right? Er, es, sie, ich, du, right? In nominative case, then in accusative case, you have mich, dich, sie, ihn, es, something like that. Then also in dative case, you have stuff like that, right? So you have articles and you have pronouns. In this session, you are supposed to learn how you can use articles as pronouns. Okay. Now you may ask, why do we even need to do that? Don't ask me. In German language, people do that. They sometimes use articles as pronouns. And yeah, it is my job that I help you understand that how you can also do that. Whether you want to do it or not, it's up to you. At least you should know when someone else is using articles as pronouns when they are speaking or communicating with you in German language or when you read something. Then we will also do some exercises on articles as pronouns. And then if we have time, we will see if someone has sent homework and try to correct it. And towards the end, if we still have time, we will try to learn some new vocabulary together as per Goethe. Before we do that, before we try to learn how to use articles as pronouns, let's do a very quick recap of the pronouns in German language in nominative, accusative, dative. I don't think it's a mistake. I don't think we need to learn pronouns in genitive case. Apologies for that. Then we will also learn the articles. So bestimmte article, definite articles, unbestimmte article, indefinite articles, possessive article, mein, thine. Then also negationsartikel, kein, so on. For all the four cases: nominative case, accusative case, dative case, and genitive case. Let's do that recap. Please try to pay attention. Okay, it will be a very quick recap. You should know this already. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. Otherwise, you should know this already, but feel free to ask. All questions are fine for me. Let us start. Disclaimer: if you're preparing for some B1 level exam, please do a lot of homework. Don't depend entirely on these sessions. Again, we are supposed to learn today how to use articles as pronouns, how to use articles as pronouns in German language. But before we do that, let us do a quick recap of the articles and the pronouns. Let us start with pronomen, that is pronouns in German language. You see a table. On the table, you have four columns. In the first column, you have the pronouns in English language: I, you, we, he, she, it. Then again you, then they, and then you. So you have you three times, right? The first you is singular informal, meaning you are talking to someone directly, and and this is just one person. For example, I talk with Suresh, or I talk with Ruchi or Ali, just like one-on-one conversation, and we can be informal with each other, right? So that is that you. Then the next you is plural informal. So instead of just one-on-one, I refer to more than one person when I say you, right? Again, being informal. Okay, informal. Then the last one is singular or plural. Okay, singular or plural, but as long as I am being formal. Okay. In English, it does not matter. Like, I mean, English you don't have that, but in German you have that. Please don't think that informal means being impolite. No, informal does not, or formal does not mean being polite, or informal does not mean being impolite. Okay, there is nothing like that. It's just that, for example, most of the times whenever I talk to someone in German, they say, I start with Z. I'm very formal with them, but they will say, you don't have to be formal with me. You know, yeah. Just this does not mean being impolite. Okay, so don't confuse informal with being impolite. So now in the first column, you will see all the pronouns in German language for nominative case. In the second column, we will see all the pronouns in German language in accusative case. And in the third column, we will see all the pronouns in German language in dative case. Let us start with the nominative case. So ich, du, wir, er, sie, es, ihr, sie, sie. Okay. If you notice, she is sie, they is also z. This you singular or plural formal is also z. That's how it is. Okay. Now, how will you, let's say in a sentence, how will you know if if I write a sentence and if I write z, the subject of the sentence is z, how will you know whether it is this z or this z? The answer is how the verb has been conjugated. Okay. How the verb gets conjugated, that's how you will know which z is this is. It's not as complicated as it sounds. Okay. Notice on this one, right? This is capital SZ. Please remember that this has a meaning. So I've written this as capital meaning. German language, is quite simple to follow. Whenever you write a sentence, or whenever you write a sentence will have words, and let's say if the very first alphabet of the sentence has to be capital, just like English, after a full stop or the first alphabet of the first word of the sentence has to be capital. Wo- and that is the first rule, when something has to be in uppercase. Other scenarios are two more scenarios. One is whenever you have a noun. So noun, the first alphabet is always capital. And the third scenario is when you have this z. Okay. So this is always capital. Doesn't matter where it is in the sentence. Let's talk about pronouns in accusative case. So ich becomes mich, du becomes dich, wir becomes uns, er becomes ihn, sie becomes sie. Or you can say sie remains sie, es remains es, or es becomes es, ihr becomes euch, and then sie becomes sie, or sie remains sie, or the same thing. Notice it is still capital. Okay, please remember this. Let's talk about pronouns in dative case. So here you have Mia, Dia, uns. Notice here, when you go from accusative to dative, this, either you can say it remains the same or whatever you want to say. Okay, here it remains the same. In becomes im. Okay, there is a difference, not n, m, im. Now this z becomes ia. S becomes im, or you can say in dative case, the pronoun for he and it is the same, right? Im, im. And here, this ia again, so this z becomes ia, this z becomes inan. Notice. And this z becomes inan. Again, is z inan, z inan. It's just that this I is small, this I is capital. Okay. But this z becomes ia. Okay. So don't get confused. So you will think, okay, this z remains z, z remains z, z remains z. And when this z becomes ia, even this z will become ia. No, that's not how it is. Okay. So please don't make this mistake. Uh, Notice you have ia over here, that is the she in dative case. You also have ia over here. This is you plural informal. Okay, so don't get confused. Okay, all right. Any questions, please ask. Otherwise, you just have to remember this table. uh, yeah, or just write sentences, speak sentences where you have to use all these pronouns in all these three cases. All right, let us look at the articles now. So we will start with the definite articles or the bestimmte article. That is the. In English you have the. So in English you just have one word. In German you have uh, 4 times 4, 16 different corresponding words for the English word the. Also, so you will have, so if the noun is masculine, then you will have one article. If the noun is feminine, then you will have one article. If the noun is neutral, you will have another article. If the noun is plural, for example, professor, professors, right, plural, so you will have another article. Also, depending on which case the noun is, right? So in German, a noun can be in one of the four cases: nominative, accusative, dative, or genitive. And depending on which case it is, even that will determine how the article looks like. Okay, so it's not as difficult as it sounds, it's very easy to remember. Let's look at the first row. So masculine, just look at the noun. We'll see what is the article, definite article for a noun is in nominative case. So for masculine, it is there. Feminine, it is the. Neutrum, it is das. Plural, it is the. Accusative case, den, the, das, the. Dative case, them, their, them, Then, genitive case, des, there, des, there. Again, either you remember this table, I mean, by now you should know it, but if those who are really new and attending B1 just for because you have some time, if you really want to, remember this table, if you notice, right, when you go from nominative to accusative case, only masculine changes, so there becomes then. The remains the, thus remains thus, the remains the, right? This is one logic you can follow. When you go and look at the dative case, right? For the dative case, the article for masculine and neutrum is the same. Them. Feminine, their, plural, they. Okay. Look at the genitive case. The article for the masculine case and the neutrum case is the same. Des. And the article for feminine plural is the same. There. Notice about this, right? Genitive. Genitive, the article is them and neutrum. So in genitive case, the masculine article for masculine noun and neutrum noun is the same. Them, right? Or notice the sound of M. You will also notice this over here. In dative case, the pronoun he, pronoun for he and it, masculine, in neutrum is im. Notice the sound of m. So you can follow this logic. You don't have to follow, just telling you, there is some reason behind, why the sound is there. Okay, let us continue. Any questions, please ask. Otherwise, this is the table for definite articles or bestimmte article, the English though. Let's talk about indefinite articles. Indefinite or unbestimmte article. Indefinite is like, a or an. You say the sun, a star, right? A person. That's a or an, right? Again, in English, you just have a or an. In German, again, I mean, you will have 12 different combinations because even in English, right, when you have the noun is plural, you cannot say a or an, right? You say he is a star, he is the star, but you cannot say they are stars, right? You can just say they are the stars. You cannot say they are a or an stars, right? Similarly, in German also, plural does not exist for indefinite article, but the other three columns exist. So let's look at n- what is the indefinite article for a noun in nominative case. If the noun is masculine, it's ein. Feminine noun, eine. Neutrum, ein. When you go from nominative to accusative, right? If you noticed here, right, in the definite one, when you went from nominative to accusative, only the article for the masculine noun changed. The other ones remain the same, right? You can apply the same logic over here as well. When you go from nominative to accusative case, the indefinite article changes only for masculine noun. So ein becomes einen, feminine eine remains eine, neutrum ein remains ein. One more, hint for you to follow. When you go from nominative to accusative, the article sounds like n. Notice, right? N. You will also have the sound of n over here. So there is some reason behind it or some logic you can follow. When you go to dative case, masculine and neutrum, einem, right? Notice here as well. In dative case, the articles were the same, definite articles, them. The sound of M was there. Here as well, the sound of M is there. Dative case, feminine noun, the definite article was there. The sound is air, the ending sound is air. Here also you have the sound of air. Genitive case, masculine, neutrum, indefinite article, eines, same. Just like here, right? Des. The sound of S is there. So eines. And feminine, genitive case, here you have there, the sound of air. Here also you have the sound of air, right? Einer. So far we have covered pronouns, definite articles, indefinite articles. Then you also have Negationsartikel. Negationsartikel are nothing but, for example, you say he is. Yeah, Vinay, please ask.
Just a remark for this dative uh, the neutral article, is it still im or s?
Where?
Dative pronoun.
Dative pronoun. It's im, right? It's im. This is what you're asking, right?
Yeah, for neutral also.
Yeah, it's im. Yeah, it's im.
Oh,
Yeah, I am 99.9% sure. Please check while you're in this call. Yeah, I think
okay.
it's im. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
More questions? Okay. Let's talk about Negationsartikel. In English, you don't really have something called as negative article, but actually you have, if you think about it, right? You say he is the professor, he is a professor. Then you can also say, right, he is no professor, he knows nothing. You also say no professor, right? Similarly, something like that you have in German, and that is we call as Negationsartikel. So again, you have four now genders, or you can say four, whatever, I mean, you can call them gender or whatever other name you can choose for them. So you have masculine, feminine, neutrum, and plural, and again four cases, right? So you will have 16 different combinations. So again, let's start with the first one, right? Nominative case. Masculine noun will have the negations article as kind. Feminine noun will have the negations article keine. Neutrum noun will have the negations article again kind. Plural will have the negations article as keiner. Okay. Also, here also you can follow some logic, right? Check. Feminine and plural nominative is the same, right? The. You can also say keine. Let's look at the negations article in accusative case. Okay. Again, let's follow the logic, right? So for definite article, there becomes then, the sound of n is there. For indefinite article, ein becomes einen, the sound of n is there. The same logic can be applied over here. The sound of n has to be there. Kein becomes keinen. And just like definite article, that the feminine neutrum plural don't change, and we go from nominative to accusative case. The same for indefinite article here as well. In negations article, when you go from nominative to accusative case, only masculine changes. The other three remain the same. Check. Let's talk about dative. Okay, dative case. You have kinem for masculine as well as neutrum, right? Same logic. You have the same, right? Them, einem. The sound of m is there. So kinem. Feminine, you have keiner. Okay, same logic, right? Here you have there, the sound of air. Here you have einer, the sound of air. Here also you have keiner, the sound of air. Yeah. Plural dative case, keinen. Check here as well. You have n, right? Den, n, the sound of n, keinen. Genitive case, okay? Same logic. Des, eines. So keines, right? Same. Feminine and plural, genitive is the same, right? There, einer. Okay, here you don't have because it does not exist, but I mean, you can apply the same logic that for negations article as well in genitive case, the feminine and plural will be the same. Keiner, right? So also, if you think about it, right, this entire table, right, you can just add k everywhere. Like you can take this table, the one for indefinite article or unbestimmte article, add k or ka everywhere, and you will get this table, right? Again, of course, you have to add this column, but I hope you get the logic. So we have covered so far pronouns, then we have covered articles. You have definite article. We covered the definite article at the top over here. Then we covered the indefinite article. Then we also talked about the Negationsartikel. There is one more article in German language. So in English, you have, right. You say he is my professor, he is your professor, she is your professor, our professor is here. This is my laptop, this is company's laptop, this is their laptop, right? You have these articles that tell relationship, right? Their, mine, hers, his, so on, right? You also have something like that in German language that is called as possessive article. Now, if you think about it, right? If you think about it, if I have to, let's just say, like, I have to build a table for, let's say, if I want to say, you know this is my laptop. Okay, so I will say this is my laptop. But laptop is, I mean, okay, let's say I say this is my table, right? The one I said in front of me, this is my table. So I will say this is mein Tisch. But let's say if I talk about the cup that is here, right? Cup is feminine, die Tasse. So I will have to say das ist meine Tasse. So mine becomes meine, right? Also, if I say, right, so you understand that, it can be masculine, it can be feminine. Similarly, it can be neutrum and plural, and it can also be in any one of these cases, right? What I'm trying to say is that, so for ish, you will have one entire table. For do, you will have one entire table. For via, you will have one entire table. Possessive article, right? How do you build that table? Just make sure that you know the at least the article for masculine noun in nominative case. I'm saying if you want to build the possessive article table for ish, how do you do that? At least remember the one article for that is for masculine noun in nominative case. So it is mine. For do, the article in masculine nominative, the article for nominat masculine noun in nominative case is dein, wir, unser, sein, sie, ihr, es, sein, ihr, euer, sie, ihr. Okay. Now, if you have to build the table for mine, so what you do is you write mine everywhere, and you follow the logic that you have learned so far. So you have learned that in dative case, the articles for masculine and neutrum will end with the sound of M. So you add MM. Okay. And you also know that in dative case, feminine article for feminine will end with the sound of air, right? Air, air, air. So you add air. And the article for plural noun in dative case will end with the sound of n. So you add n, right? You can apply the same logic, right? Minus, minus, minor, minor, right? So you have mine. I'll just do this once, right? For this table. So the possessive article table for mine is a nominative case masculine mine, nominative case feminine minor, nominative case neutrum mine. So it's the same, right? Mine, mine, plural minor, accusative case minen. And you know that when you go from nominative to accusative case, only the article for masculine noun changes, right? Mine becomes minen, the others remain the same. Check, right? And in dative case, we just looked at them, right? And in genitive, we also looked at them. Also, if you think about it, right, you have this table, this Negationsartikel table. If you just replace k with m or ka with m, you will get this table, right? You'll get this table. And if you want to get for do, all you have to do is replace m with d or replace m with day, right? Dine, dina, dine, dina, and you'll get this table. Okay. If you want to get for ear, just have ear everywhere. Ear, ear, earn, and so on. Okay. And if you want to get the table for Zine, just add Zine, right? Zine, Zina, Zine, Zine. Just replace M with S, right? The only tricky one is for Unzer and Oya. Even Oya is easy. Only Unzer. Let's talk about this. So this is the table for mine. Let's talk about the possessive article table for Unzer. We'll skip this extra note. Yes, let's talk about Unzer. So you have nominative case, Unzer, Unzera, Unzer, Unzera, accusative Unzeran, and the other three remain the same, right? And in dative case, you have to add the sound of M. So Unzeram and Unzeram for masculine and neutral nouns. In feminine, you have to add the sound of air. In dative case, Unzerar. In plural, you have to add the sound of N. So Unzeran. Genitive, masculine neutrum, the sound of S is there. So Unzeras, Unzeras. Feminine and plural, the sound of S. Sorry, this is a mistake. It should be air over here, okay? It should be air over here. So Unzerar and Unzerar for genitive case. If you want to build the table for thine, as I said, all you have to do is replace ka with day or k with day, and you'll get this table, right? Thine, dina, thine, dina, thine, dina, thine, dina, thinem, diner, thinem, thinen, dinus, diner, dinus, dinus. If you want to get the table for Zine, as I said, just add this s over here, right? Replace ka and add s. Zine, zina, zine, zina, accusative zinen, and the other three remain the same. Dative zinem for masculine neutrum, feminine ziner, plural zinen, genitive masculine neutrum same, zinus, feminine plural same, ziner. Okay, there is a mistake. It should be ziner. I apologize for this. It should be ziner over here. I hope you get the idea, right? For ear, you have to be careful. It's no. I think it's the same. Only be careful here. It should be ear. Okay, there's a mistake. It should be ear over here. For capital ear, it's the same thing. Only I has to be capital or E has to be capital. Yeah. Oya, here you have to be careful. So you write oyer, then you say, okay, I will write oira, but don't ask me why, but this you see you see oya and then you just add e over here, but you have to remove this e. Don't ask me why, that's how it is. So it's actually eure. This other e that you see right now that is grayed out does not exist. Okay, so it's not there. So here you have to be careful. Oira, I mean, when you speak it doesn't make any difference, but if you're writing in some exam, if they see that you write eure, I believe they will cut your marks. I will cut your marks if I if I were to check the paper. Yes, but when you speak, it does not make any difference. Okay, so be careful with this. Any questions? Again, here you have to be careful. It's eurer. Okay, apologies for this mistake. It should be eurer. Okay, feminine and plural, genitive case. It's eurer and eurer. Yeah. Any questions? Okay. So you know all this, right? This is so we covered articles. So we covered the pronouns, then we covered the definite articles, definite articles, indefinite articles, Negationsartikel. We also covered the uh, possessive article here. Be careful, eurer. Let us talk about how to use articles as pronouns. Okay, so guys, yeah, Suresh, please ask.
One question, Rohit. Pronomens will not have genitive or
A good question. I was actually thinking about this. I don't see any scenario where it will be genitive. I don't think it really exists. Yeah, it's a good question. I really don't know. Yeah, yeah.
okay.
I mean, I never learned it. I mean, as far as I remember, so I don't think it's there. But maybe it's there. I don't know, like maybe if you go to C2, you'll find it. But yeah, it's not. I don't think it's. Uh, I need. I mean, I speak German almost on a daily basis. I don't think I need the pronouns in genitive. Yeah, yeah,
Okay, thank you.
yeah. Any other questions? Okay, let us start with Artikelwörter als Pronomen. That is how to use or articles as pronouns or how to use articles as pronouns. Okay. Anyone wants to read? So on the screen you have a table. The table has five rows and five columns. In the first column you see the cases: nominative, accusative, dative, genitive, and the next four columns are just telling you that something is masculine, something is feminine, something is neutrum, something is plural. I think it's obvious what is masculine, if not, or what is feminine, or what is neutral, what is plural. If not, please ask, but we'll talk about it. I want someone from the call to read the table, like read this sentence, then read this sentence, then read this sentence, then read this, and so on. Yes, please, Vinay, you can read.
Yeah. O is der Kollege. O is die Kollegin. O is das Kind. O sind die Kolleginnen. Ich rufe den Kollege an. Ich rufe die Kollegin an. Ich hole das Kind ab. Ich rufe die Kolleginnen. Ich helfe dem Kollege. Ich helfe der Kollegin. Ich helfe dem Kind. Ich helfe den Kolleginnen. Hier findet man den Preis des Laptops. Hier findet man die Daten der Firma. Hier findet man die Daten des Unternehmens. Hier findet man die Daten der Firmen.
Okay. Uh, Please stay unmuted, Vinay. Please tell me, if you, I mean, okay, but just before you start answering, this is what is masculine, right? Their colleague is masculine, right? And here the colleague is feminine, right?
Yeah.
Male colleague, female colleague. And here the kind is neutrum.
Okay.
Kolleginnen, it is plural noun, right?
Yes.
Here, the same thing is in accusative case, right? So there becomes they, right?
Yeah.
And here the same thing is in dative case, so there becomes they. And here the same thing, I mean, it's something different, but des laptops is in
Yeah.
genitive case. Okay. Now please tell me, Vinay, if let's say if the reason we have pronouns in language is that sometimes we don't want to use the article and the noun, right? We just use pronouns, right? For example, I'm buying the laptop, I am buying it,
Yeah.
right? Please tell me, just read the sentences one more time. And instead of, I mean, the nouns, instead of noun and the articles, use the correct pronoun. So,
Okay.
for example, wo ist
O
er.
is yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And please be slow. And you can use this. I mean, I don't request you to speak slowly, normal life, but here, just for the sake of understanding, have
Okay.
a pause of 1 second, between every word.
Yeah. Okay. O is R. O is C. Uh, O is S.
Wo ist es? Yeah.
O is S. Yeah.
Read
Uh,
like this. Read like this. Follow me. Wo ist er? Wo ist sie?
okay. Okay. O is R. O is C. O is S. O sind sie.
Very good.
Äh, ich, ich rufe dich an.
No, no, not this year. No, no. Be careful. Den
Okay.
kolega, third
Den
party.
Kollege, third party, yeah, third person, yeah. Ich rufe ihn an.
Very good. In and in.
Ich rufe ihn an. Ich rufe sie an.
Very good. Z.
Ich hole es ab.
Very good. Ich hole es ab.
Ich rufe, okay, third person. Ich rufe euch.
No, it's. But
No, no.
euch will
Euch
be.
is,
No,
euch will
this
be,
is. Euch is second person.
here
Come.
this is a third person plural, right?
Yeah, ich rufe.
Ich rufe sie, yeah.
Capital small.
Small.
Yes, small, right? Because third
Yeah,
party, right?
yeah,
They,
yeah,
something like they, Z. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So
Okay,
Z, like they is Z in nominative case. It's also Z in accusative case. Z remains
yeah,
Z. Yeah. So
yeah,
yeah, it's Z accusative one. Yeah.
yeah.
Continue, please.
Okay. Ich helfe ihm.
Yeah. Im,
Ich,
M,
ich helfe ihr.
ear,
Ihr. Okay,
ear, not ear, ear, ear.
ihr.
Yeah.
Okay. Ich helfe ihr. Ihr.
Yeah. So that R, normally when a word ends with R, either you don't say it at all, but if you still have to say it, say a. Ear.
Okay. Ich helfe ihr.
Yeah.
Okay. Ich helfe ihr. Ich helfe ihm.
Very good. Im.
Hier. Ich helfe ihnen.
Very good. Ihnen. Capital small I.
Small.
Small. Ihnen, right? Ihnen. Yeah. So continue. Right? Z, they, Z
Yeah.
nominative, accusative also Z,
Yeah.
and the here, right? So he's talking about this Ihnen.
Yeah.
Okay. This Ihnen. Yes, please read. Continue.
Um, here. Okay. Then tries this.
Okay, so
Okay.
yeah, sorry.
We
Here,
say we.
pronouns don't exist in
Yeah.
in the native case. Yeah, your question. So you don't have to read it. But very good. You read without any mistakes. Very good. So the way Vinay read, right, that is the correct way to read. That is, how do you say? In German, there is something called as Standardsprachlich. That is the standard way of talking. And there is some. Let me just write this down for you. Okay. Yes. So in German, there is something called as. No one is going to ask you this, but just so you know, why do you have to learn this? And then you have something called as Umgangs. Yeah, I don't know if Umgangssprachlich. Anyone knows the difference between these two? So they are just two ways of talking. Anyone knows the difference? Any guess what am I saying? So when I talk to my boss, yeah, sorry, Vinay.
Yeah. I guess Umgang is like when you. It's in real life. How you speak to
Almost close.
people.
Umgangssprachlich is like colloquial.
Okay.
So it's like, I mean, normally you learn to speak Standardsprachlich, like this is how you normally speak. Okay, this is how you write. But Umgangssprachlich is like how people talk amongst each other, or over the years, every language, there will be some like rules they will break here and there. Yeah, that is something like that. Okay, so Standardsprachlich like standard way of talking. Umgangssprachlich is like colloquial way. The English word is colloquial way. Okay. Uh, yes. Now, why am I telling you this? So, I asked Vinay to replace the. Wait. Yeah. I asked Vinay to replace the nouns and the articles with the correct pronouns, which he did almost like correctly. No mistakes at all. Okay, there were some mistakes in pronunciation, but okay, no problem. But yeah, he did it correctly. So ideally, you can replace a noun and an article with the correct pronoun, but Germans, they will use a pronoun which is not actually the pronoun. So normally you should say wo ist er, if you want to use a pronoun wo ist er, but they will not say wo ist er. They will say wo ist der. Instead of saying wo is the Kollegin, you should say wo is sie, but they will not say wo is the, they will say wo is the. Instead of saying, like if we, when I said, if I have to replace das Kind with a pronoun, I will say es. When I said wo ist es, but in umgangssprachlich or in colloquial way of talking, Germans will say wo ist es, wo ist das. Okay, instead of saying wo sind sie, like the way when I said, they will just say wo sind die. Okay, so if you are thinking, okay, all what they are doing is they are just throwing the noun away, right, and they are using the article as it is, right. So this is like, you'll say, okay, now I understand how to use articles as pronouns. Just don't say the noun at all. But there are a few things, few changes, of course. So please, so this was the original sentences. Here I have highlighted the nouns along with the corresponding articles. And here I am telling you how you can use articles as pronouns instead of using pronouns. How you can use something called as Artikelwörter als Pronomen, or how to use articles as pronouns. So, Vinay, one more time, I will request you to read the uh, entries and don't read what I have crossed out, please.
Okay. O is there. O is the. O is das. O sind die. Ich rufe den an. Ich rufe die an. Ich hole das ab. Ich rufe die an. Ich helfe dem. Ich helfe der. Ich helfe dem. Ich helfe denen. Hier findet man den Preis dessen. Hier findet man die Daten deren. Hier findet man die Daten dessen. Hier findet man die Daten deren.
So you notice, right? So for nominative, accusative, dative, all you have to do is just throw the noun away. But in genitive case, you have to be careful, right? So you had des. So you throw the noun away, but you have to, instead of saying des, you have to say, let me just go back. You had des laptops, right? Des
Yeah.
laptops. You throw the noun away laptops, but you have to say desen. Okay. Again, here you had their laptop, the dart and their laptop. You throw the noun away, but you have to say deren, not just their. Okay. Same thing, des Unternehmens. Again, by now you know, right? So in genitive case, the article is the same for masculine and neutral, right? So you have dessen, here also you have dessen. And you know that in genitive case for feminine and plural it's the same article, right? Deren. Okay. Normally this is how you say it, dessen, deren. Okay, or you can also say deren, but depending on where you stay. So either you can say deren or deren. Yeah. One more adjustment you have to do. It's, this is correct on paper, but normally, it just sounds a little bit odd when you say here findet man den Preis dessen. Normally what you do is, you also, I mean, it just sounds, I mean, it's fine, you can say. Also, what you can do, right? You can just say here findet man dessen Preis. You also throw this article away. Okay, hier findet man dessen Preis. Hier findet man deren Daten. What I'm saying is that even throw this article away and put the article wörter as pronoun here. So hier findet man dessen Preis. Hier findet man deren Daten. Hier findet man dessen Daten. Hier findet man deren Daten. Okay, you don't have to do it, but this is how you will notice people talk. Okay, any questions? What is happening right now? What just happened? Okay, again, this is not a standard way of talking, but yeah, you will encounter most of the time. They will, and of course, you have to understand that it needs some background. Now, what do you mean by background? Let us say there is a meeting going on. Let us say let's say Suresh and I, we are our company has sent us to attend a webinar, not webinar, like a seminar in presence. Okay, so we have to attend a meeting in presence, and we go there, and Suresh is already there, right? He is there on time. I came late. I came 10 minutes late to the meeting seminar, and I come and I just say this. Okay, voice there. Now, because Suresh and I understand each other, what I'm saying is that voice there. So I'm just pointing to the stage and I'm asking voice there. Even I am late. Suresh will know what I'm talking about. I'm just talking voice there. The guy who is supposed to present, right? If we know the woman, if the presenter was going to be a woman, I would have said voice the. You know. So but this is what I mean by some background, so you will not hear this sentences, like where you are using articles as pronouns out of nowhere. That's why it is umgangssprachlich, right? Because there has to be some understanding between two people, what they are talking about. I hope you understand, right? Okay. For example, uh, uh, yeah, I mean, you get the idea, right? I'm saying it will not be out of nowhere, right? So, I mean, I'm saying on, let's say if you're reading somewhere and you notice I mean, you will never notice that the very first sentence is using articles as pronouns, because how will you know what they're talking about, right? So, it needs some context, some background. Okay, I hope you get the idea, right? Uh, any questions, please ask. Yes, Suresh, please ask.
Right. So, in case the colleagues also knew, then we have to use voiced air or
Yeah,
standard
you can say
Sprachlich.
voice there, right? I mean, it depends. Voice there, right? You can say, are you saying like, can you like be like talk this way with someone new? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah. So this is Umgang Sprachlich, right?
Yeah, but
When we
it does
want to
not mean
follow
impolite.
voiced
It
air.
is not does not mean impolite.
Mm, okay.
Yeah,
So in general, standard Sprachlich case, I'm trying to understand. So voiced air can be used for a standard Sprachlich.
yeah. Actually, you should
Or
say Standardsprachlich, but yeah, you're right. Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, it needs some context, like, so for example tomorrow I have a meeting, right? I and a colleague of mine, we have to present something. And let's say I and a this and we go inside the meeting. Let's say I am the earlier, let's say she is already there in the meeting, and then I am as usual late to the meeting. And I go and I say, I am here, ich bin da, voice there, you know
Mhm.
she knows what I'm talking about. Again, I can also say voiced air, but umgangssprachlich is the, I mean, like, uh, as you, I don't know how long, as you live in Germany, if you're already noticing it, people don't really speak Hochdeutsch. They will, every city will have some, like slang here and there. Yeah. Did I answer your question,
Mm.
Suresh?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Understood.
Let me, yeah, Ruchi, you have a question, please ask.
No, it wasn't a question. I was just adding on to what Suresh, what he was asking. So I was just going to add in that.
Yeah,
So
please add.
you gave the explanation after that. Like it can be something like we are all waiting for an author visit, and then we all come on time, and then we say, "Oh, we are waiting for the author to come in. Where is he?" So something like that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Right? Something like that. One more thing. Yeah, thank you very much. That's actually better. That's also adds to the explanation.
Maybe
One,
last one. So,
yeah.
but I think in the exam, all this doesn't matter, right? Usually in the exam, we should use the correct pronoun, like how you
It's like
how you
this,
like that.
if you're writing something, don't write it. I don't. It
Mhm.
to be honest, I don't know how the exams are being conducted right now. Uh, but I mean, I'm just thinking, like, your teacher may, I don't know, like, they may give you a task on the, like on the spot, like, write like this is the text, replace all the art, like, uh, articles and nouns with articles as pronouns. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm. Yeah.
Something like that. But if you want to be safe, don't. If you're writing some text, don't. Just stick with the standard Sprachlich way. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Just to give you some background, right? What colloquial means. Like where I live, we call it Ruhrpott. This area is like, I mean, it's, I don't think if it's official, but we call, like this place is called Ruhrpott. And here, instead of saying was is thus, it was also amusing to me. They will say what is that. Yeah, they will say something like that. When we are speaking, let's say if I say uh, bist du krank, okay? Instead of saying like this, they will just say this, bist du krank. Again, I'm going like a level higher. This is, you don't need to know this. If you live, then you should know. But this is how bist du krank. They will talk like this. What is that thing? They will say what instead of was. Instead of thus, they will say that. Yeah, just telling you. Okay. Uh, so you understand, right? So you will need. For as long as definite articles go, you can just like throw the noun away. For nominative, accusative, dative cases, it's almost the same. Just you throw the noun away. For dative case, you have to be careful, right? Ich helfe denen. Okay. You had normally ich helfe den Kolleginnen, but if you throw the noun away, you will have to say denen. In genitive case, you have to remember. So similarly, here you have this, right? So maybe someone else wants to read apart from Suresh. Yeah, Ruchi, please read.
Yeah.
Gaurav, you will have to wait. Yeah,
Okay, sorry.
no problem. Yeah, Ruchi, please read.
He can read. He can read it. I don't mind if he reads it also.
Read, I will, no problem. You can continue. There is one more
Wo,
slide.
wo ist ein Kollege? Wo ist eine Kollegin? Wo ist ein Kind? Ich rufe einen Kollegen an. Ich rufe einer Kollegin an. Ich hole ein Kind ab. Ich helfe einem Kollegen. Ich helfe einer Kollegin. Ich helfe einem Kind. Hier findet man den Preis eines Laptops. Hier findet man die Daten einer Firma. Hier findet man die Daten eines Unternehmens.
Please read this word one more time.
Firma?
Firma, E. German language is phonetic. You
Yeah.
never have to guess E. It's Firma. Yeah. Thank you very much. So you notice, right? Ein Kollege, like Kollege is masculine and masculine noun for nominative article for masculine noun in nominative case, and that to indefinite or unbestimmte article is ein. Feminine, eine. Neutrum, ein, right? Accusative, einen. Dative, einen. Genitive, eines. Now, instead of using ein Kollege, you just have to use the article as a pronoun. So you'll say, okay, I will say, wo ist ein, wo ist einer, wo ist ein. You will be right at least one third of the time, but you still have to learn few new things. Gaurav, please read. So whatever I have scratched out, please don't read that part. Yeah.
Okay. Masculine nominative. Wo ist eine? Wo ist eine? Wo ist eines? Da sind welche?
Sure. Well, sure.
Accusative. Welche?
No, sure. Like sure, for example. Yeah, I have a very bad example in my head. It's sure. Like, okay, continue. Yeah.
Ich rufe einen an. Ich rufe einer an. Ich hole, ich, ich hole eine ab.
Eines.
Ich hole eines ab. Ich bringe welche. Ich helfe einem. Ich helfe einer. Ich helfe einem. Ich helfe welchen. Hier findet man den Preis eines. Hier findet man die Daten einer. Hier findet man die Daten eines. Hier findet man die Daten welcher.
Okay. Gaurav, do you mind if I ask you how do you say six in your mother tongue? The number six?
Six.
Yeah.
Six.
No, in your mother
Che.
tongue. Right? That
Che.
ch, the same sound is welcher.
Okay, welcher.
Yeah? Okay, much better.
Okay.
Yeah. So here, right? So again, this is something you have to just learn. So uh, here I have written ein, then bracket e, and then s. So sometimes people will say wo ist eins. Sometimes they will say wo ist eines. Okay, depending on with whom you talk to. Okay. Any questions? Okay. If you notice, right? Yeah, Suresh, please ask.
One question, Rohit. Do we really use them in the real time?
I use.
Do we pronounce that O is China, something like that? Or
Yeah, wo ist einer? Yeah, I mean, you may not need it like this, right? But for example, hier ist einer. Let's say you and I are in the office, and I am looking for something which is masculine, right? And you say, "Rohit, hier ist einer." Here is one. right?
Mhm.
Right? Then
Okay.
you will use, right? Of course, it's up to
Okay.
you. You can say here is Aina and whatever the name of the noun is, but people don't do that. They'll just say here there is one, right? There is one over here, right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Also notice, right, in plural, normally, like we are talking about indefinite article, normally plural is empty, but here you have something. We have welcher, welcher, welchen, welcher. Okay, this is something interesting. Normally, welcher is a question word, right? Right? Welche Sprachen sprichst du, right? Welche Orte hast du
Yeah.
besucht? But here, welcher is a article as a pronoun. This is something new. Okay, please remember this one. More questions. Okay. If not, like I don't have, so I'll give you the table, right, for all the cases, right? So here is the table for definite articles, bestimmte article. Then this is the table for indefinite article or unbestimmte article. Again, unbestimmte Artikelwörter as pronouns or unbestimmte Artikelwörter als Pronomen. Okay. Please remember, it looks same, but there are some. You say, okay, what is the difference, right? This just looks like the normal table, right? But no, there are some uh, variations, right? So okay. Uh, yeah. Anyone wants to just read this aloud, the entire table? Yeah, Gaurav, you can read, no problem. Just read the, definite article. Please read.
Yeah. There thee, thus thee, then thee, thus thee, them, there, them, thenen, dessen, deren, dessen, deren.
Undefinite article.
Einer, einer, eines, welcher,
Again,
einen,
you are saying the
eine,
wrong pronunciation. Well, sure, sure. See,
wel, wel, welcher,
yeah,
welcher.
yeah.
Okay. Einer, einer, eines, welcher, einen, einer, eines, welcher, einem,
Welchen,
einer,
welchen.
welchen, eines, einer, eines, welcher.
Yes. Please stop. Whenever so to be honest, like whenever a word ends with air, either if possible don't pronounce it at all. So actually, like this one and this one will sound the same, aina, because whenever a word ends with air we don't pronounce it. If we really have to like if removing it all completely makes it sound weird, then you add the sound of right? So for example, ihr or air, if you remove it completely, what will you say? It sounds wrong. Then you add the sound of right? Ear. But here you can just
Yeah,
remove it completely. So you just say Aina. Again, but on paper, be
eine.
careful. Okay. When people
Mhm.
talk, when Germans speak, you will not notice the difference between this one and this one. It will sound the same. But when you are learning, please pronounce it. But in real life, you don't have to emphasize the R whenever a word is ending with air. Please, this table as well, please. Negationsartikel.
Keiner, keiner, keines, keiner, keinen, keiner, keines, keiner, keinem, keiner, keiner, keinen, keines, keiner, keines, keiner,
Yeah.
keiner,
Yeah. You
maybe,
can say Kainer, but real life, you'll just say Kaina. Yeah.
keiner.
People don't even say like there, they'll just say there. Their man is here. They will not say their man is here. They will not say, but when you are learning, if you're especially if you're preparing for an exam, please be careful. Okay, so this is the table, right? You just have to, so just remember this one, right? This is something new, this column. Yeah,
Yes.
please, Suresh.
One question about unbestimmte article or negation article with nitrum. Why we need e in brackets when we pronounce always ines?
Not always. Sometimes people will just say ich, they will say eins. So for example, if I let's say if I'm walking around the office and I'm looking for something, like and that something happens to be Neutrum, you will say, hey Rohit, ich habe eins here.
Mhm.
Yeah. Again, if we look into theory, you will find like when exactly you should say eines, when to say eins. I don't care about all those things. You know, the first thing is you start using them. Okay, so on this screen you have 16 times 3, 48, right? Out of 48, if you make mistake on 4, you will still pass the exam. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, at least like in
Got it.
real life, right? So again, you can find in theory, maybe I can look, what exactly when to say eins and when to say eines. It depends. Yeah.
Okay, got it. Thank you, Rohit.
Most
Also,
welcome.
I didn't understand why should you have that in plural Welcher, and Welchen and Welcher. Why did you have that particular
Because
thing? I
what will you say? Let's say, for example, normally, you'll say "das in snacks." Okay, so this sentence "das in snacks." Now we have to use a pronoun over here, right? So you have to say something, right?
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So that is the thing. You say "das in welche." That is the pronoun. That is the article word as pronoun that you have to use for when you are replacing something plural. So when you have a sentence and the noun is plural, okay,
Mm-hmm.
and before you are not using any article. Let's say, for example, if it was "das in the snacks," then you could have just said "das in the." Make sense?
Yeah.
But here,
Yes.
you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Yeah, that is the reason. Yeah. More questions? Okay. If not,
Did someone really use this das in Welsh in
yeah,
normal?
yeah, you'll hear this. Now that please notice how Germans talk. You will hear this all the time.
Okay, normally Welsh is like okay question form, but here
It's a
it's not a
question.
question.
It's a
It's like
question.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
My boss used this like on like last week. He was telling us to do this task, and I asked him like, where do I find some tutorials? He said, yeah, there is this website, there is this channel, da findest du welche. So I asked him like, where can I find tutorials? He said, ja, es gibt eine Webseite, es gibt einen YouTube-Kanal, da findest du welche, die dir hilft, die dir helfen. He used that.
Okay,
Yeah, it's used. You have to use it. Yeah.
okay,
Don't have to, but
yeah.
depending on with whom you talk, right? The call will end, but let's end this call. We'll continue our discussion in the next call. Yeah, no problem.